figured, you know, because he was talking about that quit and it's all up here, you know,
Yeah.
on that the one you
Hmm.
posted, and I was thinking about that, the quit thing, you know, and because I don't reflect a lot unless people ask.
Right.
But I was thinking, when did that enter my mind?
Hmm.
Because as soon as doubt enters your mind, as soon as you know, you could hear doubt, but if you listen to doubt, it's going to jack you up.
Wow.
You know, it's because hearing it is one thing, but listening to it is another. But I was thinking about all the different training events, you know, and like I've talked about like special forces school was hard, but quit never entered my mind. It was a
Right.
lot of frustration because I, you know, failed out of first phase and I had to go all the way back through that thing. But even, you know, I talk about like the patrolling phase and the special forces course where just pissed down rain. It was freaking freezing. So you're sleep deprived, you're hungry. Um, and I pissed myself. You know, it was like 2 a.m. on 33% security or some shit like that. But quit never like entered my mind. I think one of the hardest, uh, besides for combat dive school, because I had a shallow water blackout, and that school is very very professional. They don't. You have to voluntarily withdraw like during pool week or drown proofing, which is like an oxymoron or something like that. But so the first time I went, I had no preparation and I had what's called the shallow water blackout. And they have this rule where, you know, they tell you 3 times to get off the wall. And if you don't get off the wall, they just pull you. And I had the shallow water blackout. They asked me if I wanted to continue. I said, well, yeah, what other options do I have? And I knew it was going to suck more now because now I was in, you know, in deficit because
Right.
you just had a shallow water blackout. So you're depleted of all this energy. And the third crossover after the shallow water blackout, I remember hanging onto the wall and I got called off, you know, get off the wall, Mr. Get off the wall, Mr. Get off the wall, Mr. They pulled me. I went back a year later, got pre-scuba and crushed it. But I was thinking about selection. I've told a lot of selection stories and how cool it is. You know, it's a really freaking neat selection process. And if I were asked to go again today, I would definitely freaking go. I would not make it today. People ask, would you make selection today? I was like, hell no, bro. Hell no. But I would love to go do that again.
Yeah.
Um, but so you're going weeks and weeks. The load's getting heavier, distances are getting further, decisions are getting harder because the terrain's getting harder too. And you'll culminate with this 40 miler. I was thinking about it, I think last night by the fire in back of that cabin on the New River, just out there smoking a cigar, drinking bourbon, because I was listening to uh, that chunk he did with Dutch, and he was
Mm.
talking about the mindset thing. So I felt really, really good during the first 2/3 of that 40 miler. And you know, you hear, for those of you who've run a marathon, there's a such thing as the wall. You know, you hit a wall. So on the 40 miler, and it's got to be by design, you hit a wall at about 2/3 mark. So you cross the Cheat River on this little teeny footbridge. It's cable, you know, there's cables, and um, you cross it and you hit an RV. I forget, I think it's RV number 74. I can't remember. And the cadre is there and says, what's your color and number? Show me where you are, where you came from. Here I am. Here's where I came from. And it's about at that point. So you're about, I don't know, about 25 miles in ish, something like that. Maybe closer to 30. And they say, yep, that's right. Here, there's your next point. Plot it. Show me where you are and where you're going. And I plot it real quick and I just show him. And he says, Roger that. And I just take off cardinal direction into the woods and then start planning. You know, I just want to get out of the RV. You know, I don't want
Mhm.
to spend more time around this cadre member than I have to. So I always did the same thing. Just beat feet in a general direction. Let me sit down in the woods, gather my bearings, and figure out where, where this point is. And I'm looking at the map and I'm going, holy freaking hell. It's nothing but back to back to back stacked contour lines. So those of you who know map stuff know that you are going uphill and you're going for a long time. And there's a mountain, and you could plan it. You could either dead reckon, you can go around and take the terrain, or there's several different options. My option was, I am just going to dead reckon. I am going to take this thing on head on and just go straight up, because if I go all the way around, the terrain might be, there's decision making process. So I get to the top of it, and on top of this mountain is it's like a ridge line now, and it's about the hilltop itself is about 1,200 meters long and only about 200 meters wide. And only in freaking West Virginia can there be a swamp on top of a mountain, like a mountain laurel swamp. And that's where you probably read it in Pete Blaber's book, because he told the story as his own, is where I fell on the bear cub. Because I'm in this mountain laurel jungle and I'm going, holy shit. And you feel the energy being sapped from you because you can't navigate through mountain laurel. You get a bearing, but you're not moving through it. You're not going anywhere. It's just, it is impassable. So I keep trying to navigate and weave through this. And below this mountain laurel, it's like dark almost, there's sun up there. It's like triple canopy jungle, but it's only 20 feet high. But I find a felled tree and it's over everything. And I climb up the root structure and I'm walking along this tree, and I'm, holding on to little branches, and I'm looking, and I find a clearing. I see it. I know where this is. I could see that it's clearer over there than where I am, and snap, whoa, and I fall about that, 15 feet, boom, right on my back. My big blood sucking green tick on my back takes me down. I fall on my back, and I boosh, my elbow comes down, and I hit with my elbow a bear cub, and it starts squawking, and I'm so out of it at that point. I mean, out of it, I'm in a full rice paddy squat, and I'm looking at this bear cub going, wow, that's cool. And it runs over to another one, and they both climb a tree about this big, about 3 feet off the ground. And they're so young that you could see their skin beyond their fur. And they're both squawking. And then I realized, holy shit. And I just freaking run through this mountain laurel in the direction of that clearing. And I shred all of my fatigues because it's just clawing at me. I mean, I come out in shreds, but I knew that if Mama Bear were there, she would have destroyed me. There was no way I had any energy left to even present any kind of fight, nothing. But I hit that little bit of a clearing, and I just I think it's like northwest along the top of that ridge line, and I hit the next RV, and the guy saying, what's your color and number? And I go, I just fell on a bear cub. He goes, what's your color? He doesn't give a shit. I wanted to tell somebody the story,
Yeah, right.
But anyway, I check in with him, and I am depleted now. And he shows me my next RV, and it's on top of a ridge line. It's a long ridge line. So it's 9 kilometers to my next RV, and it's on this thing called Plantation Trail. There's a trail there, but it's 12 feet underwater, or 12 inches underwater, 12 inches. So for 9K, because otherwise you're walking through mountain laurel.
Right.
So this is an actual trail, but it's muck and water. So you're almost knee deep for 9 kilometers. But I remember hearing doubt during that movement. So 9 kilometers, you're already depleted. You've already hit the wall. You're out of food, and you can't drink any water because it's weight in your ruck that you have to check in with at the next RV, because you've drank all your consumable water. The other water that's in your ruck, you have to check in and get that weighed, and it's got to weigh a certain amount. Otherwise you get yeah, you're not making it. If you because your ruck has to weigh the same the entire time.
Mm.
But I remember on Plantation Trail stopping a few times and going, holy hell, but hitting that point of exhaustion and hallucinating.
Mm.
Um, but hearing doubt, but I never heard quit. I
Yeah.
never heard that, but hearing that, oh my God, man, this really freaking sucks. And you're saying to yourself, well, it's 9 more kilometers, or because about 4 kilometers in, I'm saying that, and I have another 5 to go. And you don't know at the next RV how long you have left.
Mm.
But I made it to that next RV and I am done. I am toast. I mean, just wiped out because I had an easy go up until this point. But the mountain and my route that I took, it was a bad decision. And then the bear, and then getting scared, running through the mountain, Laurel, getting all cut up. Um, I hit that next RV and I think it's 76 now. And I am freaking toast. I didn't even tell the guy about the bear because the last one didn't give a shit. And he goes, "What's your color number?" And I told him, and I'm just barely audible. And he goes, "There's your next point. Go ahead and plot it and show me where you are and where you're going."
Mm.
So I plot it and I come back and it's a kilometer and a half. It's a K and a half. It's a mile.
Mm.
And it's along a pipeline. So there's no trees. So it's a gas line, subterranean. So there's no trees. And I go, I'm here and I'm going there. And he goes, "Roger that.
Hmm.
Do not deviate from that pipeline. And there's water right over there if you think you're going to need it." So I knew that was the end. I was like, all right, I got it. I'm not even grabbing water, bro. I'm just freaking hauled ass. Boom. Yep. Went over it, came
Fastest
down.
day ever.
Yeah, man. That was